felt left out.
I did. I joined part one.
Part one, that's what it's called, right? The resolutions are in part one?
No, so, oh, I don't know where they're hidden, but
It's page 19, I think.
yeah, I have, what,
I did not print them out. I
One,
wrote down
two,
crib notes for
three,
each little one.
four or five resolutions, 4 resolutions and 7 memorials.
What's the difference?
So let me tell you, I learned that.
I was going to ask that question, so I think
So-
we're
Are
on
we
the same
starting
page.
early, though? Do we have announcements before we get into definitions?
Let's do announcements. I will defer to you because I think you had some stuff you wanted to talk about
I did, but
for June 5th.
oh yeah. Well,
Or maybe this Saturday first.
yeah.
Well, true.
There's a couple things we should probably let people know about.
There's some things
Like-
in May.
Property cleanup Saturday,
Property cleanup Saturday,
9:30.
9:30.
The weather is not looking promising for outdoor
is
work.
not.
No. So
Do we have inside projects?
Oh, we got lots
Yeah.
of stuff to do. I mean, we always clean the windows, and you can tilt those in from the inside, most of them. Not in here, obviously. But cleaning windows, dusting. There's cobwebs, a few places that we don't get to all the time.
Yeah.
You know, fun stuff like that.
Okay.
Some other, so if you got,
So if you got a
bring some
couple
window
hours,
cleaner, a couple
yeah,
rags, you know.
come on out Saturday morning.
Yep, 9:30.
9:30.
We'll see if we can't get it dolled up a little bit.
Get it all shined
Yep.
up.
And then next Friday we have the blood drive,
Yes, yes.
and I think we have
Actually,
quite a few slots left.
Yeah, and last I looked, we had quite a few. I don't know if it was just a bad day for people.
I don't know. I think
or-
they're scared of the day that it is.
Why,
Oh,
what day is it? The 13th?
Friday
Yeah.
the 13th.
Ah, what could happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vampires show up, you know, whatever.
Hey, it'll just make it go faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we, if you're able to volunteer, it'd really be great if you could let me know when.
Yeah.
Like-
Did you hear from Kay or Kate?
No.
Okay. I will.
I also
Last-
have not reached out to Kay or Kate, but they have also not emailed
I will
me.
lasso
So
them
if,
on Sunday.
if you are able to, we have a delegation going to, and our building opener and closer
Yeah.
will be
Setter
gone.
upper is gone.
Setter upper. I will set it up the night before, but
So yeah, if you
Well,
can
I'll
help it, if
probably
you
do
can
that.
help out, it doesn't take much. Just basically sitting there, checking people in to come give their
help 'em
blood.
scan in.
Yep.
We've got 16 out of 27, so
Okay.
That's not terrible.
more than half, but you know, we'd always like to fill it up
We-
more.
yeah, we'd
Those
like-
power reds are still open. And then we've got some afternoon, just regular slots, 2, 2:30, 3:15, and 4. If you want to donate at 3 o'clock with me, you can see.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
can
you're
always
getting
watch
some
the
crackle
show.
From your shirt.
Oh, I'm getting crackle from my
I
shirt.
think so.
My bad. I'll move it up.
Yeah, if you come give blood with Belinda, you can, you know, you might
Oh,
be.
there you go.
in-
Give blood with Belinda. That's
you
our
might,
new.
you might be
slogan.
treated to a show. Who knows?
I did really good last time. Lee Ropp was there. He's coming earlier that day, so I will see.
Did you
with
sign him
Lee,
up,
but
or did he get signed up himself, or did I
I
sign him
think
up?
you signed him up.
Way back when.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's coming.
All right.
So
So we have that.
we have that. That's on the 13th.
Yep.
Strawberry Festival.
Strawberry
next in order.
Festival.
Strawberry Festival's
Yeah.
the next weekend, so lots of things sign up.
And I'm sure
And
they could
such.
always use more help, so.
Yeah, so we're doing that. So in conjunction with the Strawberry Festival, we have the yard sale.
Yeah, so here's the rules for the yard sale. We're bringing stuff to the front porch of the parsonage, which is the porch on facing Pennsylvania Avenue, starting the 15th of May, not April, that's over.
That's
Yeah, that would be.
15th of May. There'll be signs and tables and stuff, so you'll be able to see where there'll be piles. It'll be pretty clear. So anytime that week, bring it. If it's something that's weather sensitive, make sure it's far back in the corner as you can get it. I will need a couple of people to help me clean out some other places that members have had that need trucks and muscle. So if you're available to do that, let me know. We're going to be setting up all day on Thursday, starting at 9:30 till whenever we get it all set up. And then Friday, we're going to have the sale from 8 to 2, and Saturday, 8 to 2, because I'm anticipating based on responses before I even asked for
A
donations.
lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. So, and you know me, I like to price it to move. Or if I don't even think we got prices on stuff last year. It was
No, we didn't. There
it
was
was more
a ton
like,
of people.
here you go.
What are you going to give me? Here, have a nice day.
It could end up just being a donation. Pick up something, give the church a donation. Happy yard sale to fight inflation.
Because I
day.
heard
I
from
don't
the
know.
Cartwrights yesterday, they have some lawn furniture and stuff they want to bring up. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
So
well, we'll just sit out in front of Belinda's porch and
it's going to be great. I think it's going to have some great stuff. I love yard sale days, and they always
I'm going to bring, I have a
bring the
big fish
people.
tank.
Oh, good. You know what I like the most? Breakable stuff.
And big and heavy breakable stuff.
And please don't send your used undergarments.
No,
We just trash those. So,
Yeah.
you can do that yourself. That's all I have to say about that.
And if you can bring the things clean, that'd be better too. Not the undergarments. Those we just don't want.
Those.
But stuff, like grandma's Tupperware that's got an inch of
grime in it.
something
Grease
on it.
and dust. You're like, oh,
Science projects.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Okay.
We saw pretty much everything.
Last year was great though.
Last year
so-
was great. So we're looking forward to another great year this year.
So along with the Strawberry Festival, there are cake pans and cake mix for those who want to help. So see Betsy about that.
Yeah, see Betsy about that.
Betsy loves some
baking,
cake mix.
bake sale stuff, all those cottage bake sale rules for the health
Yeah,
department are in effect, so
Yeah, and I actually
following
had,
all the rules there.
Betty Walker called me up and said that her and her son want to do some serious
Baking.
stuff for the
Cool.
bake sale. So,
Bake sale is always my favorite because, you can try a little bit here, a little bit there.
well,
You
she
don't
was
have to-
naming off all the good things that I like. So, might have to
Oh,
keep
so
me
get
away.
there early.
I feel
Might
like
have to
that
keep
might
me
be
away
a
from
long
the table.
list.
Pastor Phil's, tithing basket over here, and then
That's right.
support the pantry.
So we have that, and June 5th, Russ will talk a little bit about what he wants to talk
Yep,
about.
and I know
but-
we talked about it last week here in this very spot with the substitutes. But we're doing Mission Sunday. Is that what we're calling
Ministry
it?
Sunday.
Ministry Sunday.
Ministry Sunday.
Yeah,
I was like, mission? I'm not going on a mission.
it'll be all right. It's Thursday, right?
It's Thursday. It's
Okay.
Thursday.
Ministry Sunday. So instead of having all of our ministry groups meet throughout the month, we're all meeting on the first Sunday of every month. And we're going to get together at first, talk a little bit, split up, have our meetings, and then get together again at the end. So we're hoping it'll be an hour right after church. So that way people don't have to fit it into their schedule throughout the month, and we can get more participation.
Yeah. So this is in lieu of those June.
Yeah, this isn't an extra meeting.
Not
This
an
is
extra
the
meeting.
meeting.
This is the meeting. Yeah.
Yep.
So
And if you have some trepidation about joining one of these groups, you don't have to join, but you can come sit in if you want to check it out and see, hey, what's generosity ministry group about, or property, or
suggestions for Christian ed.
yeah, suggestions are always great.
Yeah.
But
What?
Nothing. Suggestions for Christian Ed. Where do you get that from?
From Christian ed.
Well, yeah,
that felt like maybe you hit a nerve on that one.
I don't know.
a little sarcastic. That's
Oh.
all.
But yeah, but
All
we want everybody. You're here at church. Afterwards, take an hour, so the brunch bunch can be the lunch bunch
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just an hour out of your month.
We might even have coffee.
I think there's supposed to be
We
chat
might
that
even
day,
have coffee. Oh, yes.
Yeah, there is
so
chat that day.
snacks,
so there should be snacks.
sugar and coffee.
Yeah. So then that afternoon at 1:30, we have Thrivent Financial coming in to talk about estate planning. So come see how you can plan your estate. The 5th.
Also June 5th. It's a busy day.
Yeah, we have a live audience today, so we might have to muzzle the peanut
There may be
gallery.
heckling.
In the audience?
And I did ask them for promotional stuff, but I have got zero response.
So beyond estate planning with Thrivent, we don't know.
So,
It'll be good.
It'll be good. Terry Glendenning, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah. You guys know the Glendennings, so, or those of you who've been at St. Paul's before. You random tuner-inners don't probably know him,
maybe not.
but good guy.
Yep. So, okay, so today we're talking about the resolutions and memorials that are being offered up at Synod Assembly.
What is Synod Assembly?
What?
So Synod Assembly is where the congregations of the Delaware, Maryland Synod come together to do the business of the Synod. So much like you were talking about on the 5th, doing the business of the church, this annual event comes together where we do the business of the church. And the most important thing that is occurring this assembly is the election of a bishop. So we're not sure whether Bishop Gohl, who I think probably has a pretty good shot at getting reelected, or someone else gets elected. But that is really the main thing that is occurring. There's going to be some training and different seminars as well for people to attend. But part of the business of the church is where we have different pastors and lay people come together and promote resolutions and memorials. So a resolution is a document that gives guidance to the synod. So where people are feeling called that the synod needs to step in and be a part of a greater part of life and how things happen, that's where these resolutions come to fruition, where they delineate different things that occur, and then they resolve that the synod is to do
Action steps.
action.
Kind of thing.
So it's
Action
sort of
steps.
like the social statements that we're doing that we've been doing in the past. It's a little bit like that.
I would say social statement, social message, or memorials, and then resolutions.
But it's in the same vein.
Yeah, it kind of gives guidance to what, and it prompts, the synod to take notice of things that maybe they're missing. And then the same thing with the memorials. However, the memorials are sent to the church-wide assembly. So they're things for the ELCA as a church body to take into consideration and be made aware of that.
Okay.
This is what we see, this is what we're feeling, and again, that's
As
how
Maryland, Delaware, this is what we're reporting or sending
this
to
is
the
what we as a synod are putting forth to the church-wide
the
assembly
national church.
to take action on.
Gotcha.
It just seems
gotcha.
like kind of a confusing choice of name.
Yeah.
I did not know
We did
what
not write
it meant until I asked in my pastor's.
So the
group.
resolution would be to change the name of memorials to something that may,
Well, there you go. I think it's 6 years, 5 or 6 years.
So, Bishop Gold has been.
Yeah.
So if you
What does
guys,
say
I don't know if they can hear the question
So-
online,
So-
but Sue was asking how long a bishop's term is.
I want to say he was elected in 2016.
Yeah,
So I'm going to say 6 years, I think.
I believe that's now that I'm looking at the ballot, yes, or not the ballot, but
The-
for, yeah, I mean, what
Everybody's
Sue
multitasking.
said is he's serving as the interim pastor at Grace in Westminster because there is a shortage of pastors, there is a shortage of interim pastors, and so he's been doing that. Robin Simpson-Litton's been filling in Ocean City and different locations. So
She's all the way in Ocean City?
yeah, she was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So just to back up just a moment, just in case you're interested in reading all of these resolutions and memorials yourself, you can just Google, or if you know the Synod's website, which is demdsynod.org. On the front page, there's a tab for assembly, and you can just click on that. And then it's kind of, for me anyway, it was kind of hard to find. It's called page 1. Or, no, not part 1. Part 1. Just so you know. Bulletin of Reports, part 1 is where all of these are found. Because it just took me, maybe it was just me, but it took me a bit to find them.
That's okay. We'll let you
Well, I had already found it, and it took me a minute to show you, so it's not just you.
True.
Well,
not just us.
think of what you were doing.
It's contagious, contagious.
Anyway, I like things like bling right at you, but it wasn't. Bulletin of Reports, part 1,
There you go.
page 15.
I can't wait for part 2 to
16.
come out.
Part 2 is
History of the world.
Oh, we cannot hear his question. Oh, yeah, okay. I think we fixed that.
Yeah. We'll make sure that Sue speaks up or we repeat
We
her
repeat
question.
the question. We'll repeat
Yep.
the question.
So the first resolution, 2022-1, is called Global Church Sunday.
Oh, wait. what?
No, it is
You're on the
not.
memorials, not resolution. Okay.
Start with,
You're on.
I started with the memorials.
I started with the memorials as well.
Well,
'cause
Do you
that's
have
the
this
order
sheet
they
that
were
has
in.
them all in order?
I have them in my order.
Oh. Oh, okay. We're doing this Phil's way.
So
let
you're
us-
going to start with the resolutions? Is that what you're going to do? We should have went over this in the pre-meeting.
Pre-banter, we should have figured out what we were doing first.
I'm
But okay,
gonna-
resolution 1.
So now I'm going to defer,
Page
and
33.
I'm just going to sit back and read. Now, I have Resolution 1, which is
We can do that.
Global Church Sunday.
We'll just roll with it.
Yeah, sorry.
Page 33 in the report.
So this is really about, and it's a lot of what we've talked about, the social messages, social statements, et cetera, about being church together. And what this resolution is calling for is for us to seek time next January, sometime before the end of January, and they have a preferable
Yeah, I was
date
about
of
to say they're
January
Pretty
22nd.
specific.
Yeah. To remember our church partners throughout the world, and pray for them, pray for what they do, et cetera. You
And
know,
specifically 3 countries, I understood it to be.
yeah.
Finland, Estonia, and Tanzania.
Right. Those areas are our
Our
sister,
companions, yeah.
synods or whatever you want to call it, so to speak.
They call them companions. As to not give it a feminist or, gender neutral word. Companion.
Okay.
Just trying to
Ju-
learn the new
yeah.
lingo. There's some new lingo in some of these that we have to learn.
And part of that resolution to support those companion synods is to also support some of the things that fall under that, like YAGM, Young Adults Global Mission, which Tori Valcarcel had taken part in, and she was over in not Madagascar, she was
She was in Africa
South
somewhere. I
Africa.
can't remember.
just
the name.
somewhere. One of my friends, Aaron, was in Madagascar.
She was
But-
in South Africa.
Yeah. Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
Carry on.
Thank you. Looking to support Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services, which is something that we are actively involved in doing. Hopefully, we'll get some more guidance from the Frederick Council at some point in the near future. And also, one of the other things is ELC World Hunger, and one of the things that they purported to support was ELCA Good Gifts, which is an Advent program where
You can
you
pay
can-
for a goat.
pay for a goat, pay for a cow, pay for whatever, and that helps to sustain, teach a man, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, you teach a companion to fish.
Person?
So those are kind of what we're looking at as far as in that resolution to support.
And you had a lead in to the next
Yeah, I
resolution.
thought you were
gonna
roll right in.
roll right into that since
Well, you
Our
got-
pre-production needs a little
yeah.
more work.
We've been this you know.
I'm trying to flow into stuff, and you guys keep putting up roadblocks.
I don't think so. You were supposed to flow right
I think
into
we
it
both had
because
a flashlight and we were
the
signaling.
World Hunger
We're trying to land that
Initiative is the next resolution. Number 2.
Yeah, and part of the World Hunger Ministry is really highlighting the lack of nutrition.
Well, everything was going down until 2019.
Well,
oddly
and
enough.
COVID hit,
And then it went back up, so
Right.
there's more issues. So they're really just highlighting it and say, hey, don't forget about this.
But what I was trying to say was they were highlighting how children are being left out in the cold and not being really given proper nutrition. Maryland in Maryland, 1 in 7 children, and in Delaware, 1 in 6 live in food insecurity. That's terrible to hear. I mean,
I know I know Maryland is trying anyway. This year, all school lunches for all students are free. There was no, farm kids, free and reduced meals kids, or regular kids. I mean, there were still paperwork to fill out, but there was, everybody got a free lunch. Title I schools, I believe, also got free breakfast as well. In all age groups. Sometimes it's just focusing on elementary. Those high schoolers, they don't need
They just need a
food.
Pop-Tart.
They don't need food.
They're good.
Right.
But, so I think Maryland is trying, and I think pandemic really brought out or highlighted how much our Maryland children specifically, because that's where we're at, depend on those meal programs that are
Well, and I
through
think
the
they just
schools.
reached out for summer food program again, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it says here that the Synod has, over the last 5 years, raised over $132,000 to feed for feeding ministries in Delaware and Maryland. So that's pretty impressive.
And their number for the World Hunger Ministry was $438,000 in 2021.
Yeah, I hadn't
So
got
that was-
that for you.
Oh. Well, skip on to the resolution.
Skip on!
I just wanted to input here. Carry on.
Yes, no, and that's quite a big chunk of change.
Yeah.
Since just in 2021.
Yeah.
Right.
In 1 year.
So what we're resolving to do is that the congregations within the Synod are to renew their support of the ELCA World Hunger Ministry. And as I mentioned, there's different ways to do that, especially through ELCA Good Gifts, through Lutheran World Federation. There are ways to do that, and we do support hunger through some of the ministries we have here with supporting the food bank and the homeless shelter downtown. So we're doing some stuff. Can we do more? Sure.
Can we move on to the next one? Is it okay to
I don't know.
say?
Are we
Number
transitioned?
Number 3.
So the resolution 2022-3, it says that the churches foster healing and supportive communities for congregants impacted by the criminal justice system. So a big part of what this resolution looks at is using different terms for those who may have been in jail instead of, offender or ex-con. Use things that are not going to creates a stigma against somebody. And then also really fostering the ability for that person to integrate back into society, integrate back into worship community. And I think, I wasn't here, but I think you all had a pretty good presentation and sermon from Pastor Subak, civilian Subak.
Yep, back in February. If you want to go back and watch that service, it's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Very confusing.
So, part.
Roll with it.
So, what the resolution, what we're resolving to do, like I said, is work towards more welcoming spaces. And I know that this congregation has tried to do that in the past with some people, and it wasn't reciprocated by those folks. And it's a partnership. It's how to work together and how to come together and be able to meet each person's and the congregation's needs together so that there's a safe and welcoming atmosphere.
And that's one of those things where some congregations are better suited to deal with some of those situations too.
Yeah, and some of it is, personnel intensive. So yeah, it does have a challenge there, but
we can also still connect with St. Dismas and support
absolutely.
the
Right.
ministry.
Yep.
As St. Paul's, we could do that if we don't have the personnel to run, say,
Right.
companion programs or mentorships or other things that they're
Right.
saying, other than changing our verbiage to returning citizens or justice-involved families.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard one
That's
for me.
That's a lot much. Yes.
That's not very
change.
smooth.
That's hard for me to change too. It really
but
is.
it's not say that we can't. We're all learning new things. We can learn new things.
Yep.
Um,
And a lot of it is like the last resolution states, it's that we prepare and educate ourselves regarding the needs of returning citizens and familiarizing ourselves with resources in our communities for these justice-involved families, including child care, transportation, health, substance abuse, job training, and family reunification, because I think that's really important. If that's a part of the reintegration, how to keep that family unit together.
Well, and if you don't allow somebody the grace to reintegrate, they're more likely to, revert to what got them in trouble in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, and supporting those facilities that are, I think there's something called Chrysalis that helps young
Yep.
mothers or expecting mothers receive abuse substance recovery. I'm not sure what the right term is. You know what I'm talking about. They don't provide the substance. They
Right. It's
provide
alternatives and
recovery
counseling
healing,
and
but keep families together, keep mothers and
right.
children together. So
Correct.
we can just learn about those programs that are here
Yeah.
in our community.
And yeah. And when the situation arises, we strive to be loving our neighbor.
Yep. Number 4.
Number 4.
Moving on.
Number 4.
Socially responsible investing. And what this resolution really calls for is for congregations to be cognizant of where you're spending your money, where you're letting your money grow, et cetera, in relation to creation care.
So partner with, try not to partner with people who are doing things you don't agree with.
Well, those who are not looking out for the sustainability of our creation, and that's really what this one is all about. That we learn where our investments are funding, and we prayerfully consider moving away from investments that fund non-sustainable projects such as fossil fuels. And that members of our of our synod, our churches, and our individual congregation members are encouraged to exemplify social responsibility by practicing energy conservation, purchasing energy efficient items, and investing in renewable energy. And that's some of which we've done here at church, where we had a company come in and they, was it the electric company that did all the
Yeah,
lights?
they had a program through, I believe it through the state of Maryland, where we got all the lights switched over to LEDs
Yeah.
for free.
And big thing last year was installing water fountains for your
Right.
refillable water bottles, so cut down on single-use plastics. Whoa.
Right, and the majority of our toilets are low flow. There might still be a couple
Slow flow, maybe some
of
of them, but
slow ones around here, but
And I know you're interested in looking at a solar option here.
yep. Because our biggest bill every month is electricity.
Yeah.
So if we could, cut that down
look
and,
at some other options there.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because besides being better for the environment and everything, it'll free up a lot of, cash to do other things too.
Yeah, which would be cool.
Build an elevator.
I don't know. You even putting a bathroom down there, I'm just not sure a bathroom down there is going to work
Yeah, I don't know.
logistically with the water situation that's already down there.
Right. Now, I get it.
But
Anyway.
And as
We digress.
Amy mentioned, electricity and fuel are our biggest things, and we've been fortunate over the last 2 years that we've been provided through an estate bequest for $20,000 to fund our fuel and electricity, which has truly been a blessing, because had we not had that, we'd not be in a good place.
Yep,
you, Esther.
Absolutely. Now,
I don't
memorials.
know why you're moving on to memorials before Pastor Phil becomes violent for some reason. Can we start with one? Is that okay, or are we going backwards?
What order do you have?
Thank
them?
What
goodness
order
this
do
is the
you-
last day of the season.
Perhaps we need a season break.
So yeah, the first memorial is a memorial for a public church-wide directory, which usually when things like this happen, something has happened to prompt this. I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering what
I don't know the background of what that is.
I feel like it's a caution hot thing on your coffee cup lid.
Yeah, I think probably.
Who did? Yeah.
Who did what and when and why. So, but this is that the Synod Assembly is requesting that the ELCA churchwide organization create and maintain a directory of program and support staff on the ELCA website, which includes their photos, email addresses, phone numbers, an area of responsibility.
So this is for the national church.
For the
They
big church,
want the
yep.
big church. They want
Correct.
us as the synod are requesting that.
Yes.
from-
So it's transparency,
Yeah. yeah.
which, I don't know. I don't see any problem with
I don't see any
transparency.
problem
But
with that.
like you said, who knows why this is just coming out? Maybe that's why it is. Maybe it's just for transparency's sake.
I mean,
Yeah.
Personal phone numbers.
Maybe there's no,
thank you.
you know.
Personal email addresses, no thank you. But if they are employed by the church as a staff member, then they should have.
And the question was asked in my training last week whether this applies to like support staff such as janitorial staff, et cetera.
I would think.
But
I'm
this
going to
is
bet
all.
that those questions will be answered at Synod Assembly,
well-
at least asked.
Yeah.
I certainly, if no one does, will ask
Administrative.
what's behind
support.
this.
I
You
don't
know.
know.
So this is the
Interesting.
first one, and it's very short. So
Yep. It's pretty straightforward.
yeah. The next one is for a memorial to advance salary equity in the ELCA. And part of this is, it's a national thing where typically male pastors or male white pastors make more than female pastors or people of color or LGBTQ, et cetera. So what this is asking for is for that to balance out. Some of the stats in here that they had was that in 2016, women clergy made 76 cents for each dollar that a man made. That, to me, I
I'd
don't
be
know why.
more curious, since it's 2016, what about 2021? Wouldn't that be
So,
more valid? Is that in there?
Reported, so the thing in 2020
Okay.
said that on average, a woman made 82 cents. So it's gone up a little bit.
But it's not there.
But
And the 2021 statistics are for the transgender, the LGBTQ plus. And I find it interesting that a transgender woman makes 60 cents for, to a
Yeah,
dollar. And
yeah.
I'm like,
I'm curious how many are in the E ELCA.
well, there is a good contingent. I mean, but
Well, I know, I'm
but-
just,
but it's
for
just like-
curiosity's sake.
huh? Did they take a salary cut before, like
Right.
and then transitioned, and then you?
They're like, oh
you
yeah,
get
now we forgot to
20%
tell you, you get a
salary.
salary cut.
You're like,
Congratulations.
and that's what it's like to be a woman in America. No. You're welcome.
But yeah,
So-
Carry on.
obviously it's not, it's a situation that needs to be,
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they're
And that's
calling for the church to be the example and
Correct.
to set
so
better
the-
standards.
you're
there-
doing the same job.
There were
you should
also
get the same pay.
certain things, and I tried to pull mine up today. The rostered minister profile about current gross. So current gross compensation. Why should you have to tell someone what you're currently making as
Yeah.
opposed to
Right.
what
That
they're
was-
going to offer you?
That was my confusion.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that going on now where I know the state of California, they're going to make it mandatory that that businesses have to put out what the salary is ahead of time. So it's not
So,
go
yeah,
in and I'll see what you say and hey, maybe that's lower and then
Yeah.
we can,
The negotiation
Yeah.
of
Well,
salaries based on.
And I haven't been too involved in public or not government service, so I don't know a lot about how salaries are. I had no idea when I came here. How does that work?
How's this work?
Yeah.
Well, I know.
There's not pay grades? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of companies that have gotten in trouble for firing people because they told someone their salary,
Right.
which is you're allowed to do that. It's not against the law. Even
Right.
if your boss tells you it is, it's not.
Yeah.
And number B, amend current health benefits question to read needed health benefits. That's something that I experienced when I came here because I didn't need health benefits because I already had them.
Right.
But I shouldn't have to say that to you. I should.
Well, you should not
I
have to
should-
say what your current situation is,
but
but
I-
you do need to let us know
What
what
I-
you need or expect from us, I would think.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what this is saying.
And current retirement contribution questions, I don't know why that should
Well, and it's
be-
part of the conundrum that I'm going through right now.
Well, right, but that's not, we shouldn't
should not-
base
you
our
should-
employment on what your retirement contributions
Right.
are or are not.
Right, right. So I agree with that, yeah. And then again, arrange for the study of pay gaps in the ELCA, which to me is a
Let's keep
no-brainer.
studying it some more, because we need
Yeah,
some more
study,
statistics.
study.
We need to make us feel worse. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe next time we see these, there'll be improvement.
They're trending the right way.
They're
so-
trending the right way,
Mm-hmm.
but transgender women, I don't know, you're really getting the shaft.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a wrong
right?
term to use. Anyway, moving on.
I
Number
will let that go. You see
20
all my self-control?
Good job.
Anyway,
I am still lacking a little bit of self-control. Memorial 2022-3. What's that?
So this memorial is about back in 1988 when the church restructured, when
Right.
3 units came together to make a church because there was they saw a need for a different way for the church to move forward. So what they're calling for in this is for a similar study to see how we can best go forth as a church. So the resolution says that we are going to request that the ELCA direct the Church Council to establish a commission for a renewed Lutheran Church, that working in consultation with the Conference of Bishops, the Church Council shall consider statements of purpose for each of the expressions of this church, the principles of organization, and all matters pertaining thereunto, presenting its findings at the 2025 Church Assembly. So that's a lot.
No, I was like,
That's a lot.
That's some
But-
legalese right
but-
there.
that's my first question. What is this?
So what that says is that before the church-wide assembly in 2025, that this advisory panel come together and make recommendations for the big church to undergo an evaluation to transform itself to align with how we feel the church is moving forward in this day and age.
That's kind of scary.
It is. I mean, but I mean,
Because what-
think about 2022 compared to 1988, and the differences.
Hair bands.
Like warmers.
I never had a mullet.
You don't know what you're missing.
Party in the front,
No, party is in the back.
parties in the back. That's right.
He
But
doesn't know. He doesn't know.
because I never had one, so
Law enforcement.
I
He doesn't know.
There's still
crew
time.
cut, you know,
cut.
yeah. But that, that's kind of, is the church now aligned with what contemporary things going on? And I think that's what.
It's a good thing to look at. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here at St. Paul's too.
Yeah.
We redid our mission statement. We looked at everything to see where we feel like we are now.
Yeah, so they're evaluating the statements of purpose and the principles of organization. So like when
Correct.
those three came together,
Yep.
there's principles of organization, I presume.
Yeah,
And they're going to
there's-
look at those and
To
evaluate
see,
them
see if they fit in with the church values that we have now.
Nope, I'm going to guess probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, so good for that. All right, I feel like so far I'm checking all these off. Nothing
Nothing too scary.
too scary.
Right. So the next one is 2022-4. It's a memorial regarding restrictive covenants and separation agreements.
Again, this feels like another hot coffee one that somebody got
well,
spilled on.
well,
I don't
not
know.
really.
This one might not be from spillage in our
No, it's a
table. It might be
nationwide
somebody
thing,
else's.
It
but-
is.
Yeah.
It's from someone else's table, and it's because
But
of
we're all
some.
dealing with the hot coffee.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we are. It's because of some situations that went on where, like for mission starts are not actual they are congregations, but they're not recognized as a congregation per se.
I think you just jumped
There-
down to
That's
number
a-
5.
That's the next one. This one.
We're talking about the one with
The-
NDAs
the
and stuff like
NDA.
that.
Oh, well, but
It's similar.
it came.
Or-
A
yeah,
reason for this is because of that.
Right.
So, part of what happened was, if I'm not mistaken, a pastor was removed from a particular place, signed an NDA, and then because of the way things worked out, things weren't honored, and it's a whole mess.
Just in case you don't know what an NDA is, it's a non-disclosure.
Yeah, sorry
agreement,
about that.
Which sometimes are okay, when you
Yeah.
don't want to.
Most of the time, it's to cover something up so people don't find out and make everybody look bad.
But that's the part I have a problem
Right.
with.
Right,
With,
exactly correct.
If you're protecting trade secrets, of a corporation or whatever, but within the church, so is this resolution saying they should not have
So
NDAs?
what this is saying is
What are we
that NDAs should not be tied to compensation. So if I sign an NDA and then I violate it, I shouldn't lose my pay.
Okay. I just want a little more transparency of why we need an NDA.
Yeah, that was more mine. How about we don't have NDAs?
How about, what are the reasons to need an NDA? Because now I feel like, there's
Well,
just recently
like-
in the Olympics, the coaches who have, you've heard, the coaches who are not allowed to be coaches anymore because of their inappropriate actions towards children,
And that's a tip.
are now still coaching children, but not,
Because
on
that's
an Olympic
that's
track.
that's a typical government thing to do, and I saw it in my job a lot, where people
Great.
were getting fired, and because to not prolong the process, well, we won't say bad stuff about you if you resign. Have a nice day.
right, yes.
But then the general public doesn't know, hey, this person is a problem, and
That
you
is
probably
correct.
shouldn't let them be in a situation like this.
Absolutely.
And that's a very big problem.
Absolutely
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, but then again, then it brings us back to, returning citizens. I don't know. How,
Why has
where,
everything got to be so complicated?
why is adulting so hard?
I don't,
don't
yeah,
know.
that's what I said yesterday. I was talking to my friend Sue, and we're going through some stuff as I was on my walk, and I said, being an adult sucks.
And here's 58 pages.
Of why it does.
Ah, grace of God. We get to vote on
yes,
these.
NDAs.
So rolling into number 5.
So again, number 5 is a memorial regarding equity and clarity in the mission development processes. So again, this is part of a pile of stuff that is outside our synod, but it has resonated within our synod because we have people who are friends with, who are colleagues with, et cetera, the people that this is affecting. So as I was mentioning, the mission developments are not technically congregations unto themselves. They are administered by the synod. So if the bishop decides, Pastor Beck, you're no longer there, there's no recourse. Or we're cutting your funding by a third, there's no recourse. It's because it's administered by the bishop and it's at the bishop or the synod council more so discretion to handle. So what this does is for mission developments, provides them with some due process.
So there's a little bit of a review and say, hey, that's not right.
And it includes people that are part of that mission development. So
And budgetary decisions are made with their involvement, not for them.
budgetary, personnel, et cetera. So that, and then it includes a panel of rostered ministers who may have knowledge of that parish and how it works. So it creates a safety net for everybody. Not only for the pastor who's there serving at the will of the bishop or for the funding, but it also for the congregation, so that when they have someone who they feel, is doing the right job, who's doing a good thing, who's managing correctly, who's abiding by what this startup congregation is looking for, they have a voice in saying, well, we don't agree with you. And these are our findings and how we're going to do that. So that's what this resolution is all about.
Again, so far, I'm not feeling anything bad about that.
Number 6.
This is yours, Russ. I'll let you take this one.
Really?
Yeah.
A memorial calling for a just transition to 50% reduction in U.S. greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. So this is get out and vote, get out and work your community.
But it's also to take action.
Right.
To take action in doing things that, like we've done so far, as we mentioned earlier, with the LED lights, with the water fountains, and some other things. Belinda's a tremendous steward in the parish house with.
Yes, but I really grate against the church telling me about this whole,
what you have to do.
Yeah.
And
Though I am, the tree hugger, the recycler. let me make the most use out of this.
Right. But don't tell me that I have to.
This is politically motivated, it feels to me.
It is, and truly, I have some angst with it myself, in which I'm going to do, in my personal home, I'm going to do what I feel I'm comfortable with.
Right.
Well, I think more of I don't look at it so much as the politics. If you believe that there's an issue with the climate, the world needs to do something about it, and we're part of the world. So just like with everything else, if the little drops of rain turn into an ocean, but if you don't start somewhere local.
I agree with you there, Russ, but I also have trouble with someone trying to ram an electric car down my throat.
I understand. I'm not saying that. This is
But-
just,
Like, how can we
this isn't a
best-
law. You know
How
what I
can
mean?
No, right.
No,
no.
I understand, they said they need a World War II size mobilization that includes all the things.
Right.
And I concur with that, but telling me exactly what the things I should be doing as we mobilize is short-sighted in that, sure, we are close enough to public transportation to make use of that, but there are a lot of communities, rural communities
That
in
are
our
not.
country that rely on fossil fuels
Right.
to farm, to move about, to seek,
Right.
it
To
doesn't.
have a livelihood.
It doesn't, this seems very narrow-minded in what they're saying. I'm not disagreeing with a lot of what they're saying.
But
just
don't discount the people that have to
saying-
rely on that.
Right. Well, I
Right.
think this is, we need to start, is what this
Yes.
is saying to me, anyway.
Yes.
But, we're never going to 100% eliminate fossil fuels unless there's some sort of giant breakthrough. Because you know what? Winter.
I mean, look at Texas.
You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Well, and look at Europe right now is in crisis because of their fuel supply, is being cut off. And while they have enough to make it through the summer, what's going to happen in the winter? You're not going to have enough production of, I don't know. That's a different thing.
Well,
but I'm just saying,
It's infrastructure,
I
too.
feel
We couldn't
hurted.
all go to an electric car anyway because the grid would crash.
yeah, right.
Right.
Because we can't support. So it's sort of like, that's why I think they're saying it's a World War II size, just like the interstate system came in, so we could move about the country easily.
Right.
They need to do a similar thing with infrastructure and this and that, or break things down into smaller areas or whatever it takes.
Yeah,
And I
don't
did
know.
see they had electric charging stations at Rest Haven yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we have been talking about this whole electric car thing in our home for a while, but, the charging stations are just one solution, and they're, I don't know. There's not enough research, development, money being towards things that are sustainable.
Yeah, it's like hurry up and do it,
Charging
and
stations
then we'll figure it out.
are great, but who on their cross-country trek is going to have an extra 45 minutes to an hour
Right.
to sit at a charging station?
And that's what Sue and I were talking about a couple of, probably about a week ago. Because when I travel, I'm sure you're the same way, and I'm not quite sure how you travel, but when I go, I go.
Oh, no,
And
that's not me. I like to stop.
I go until I need gas.
White knuckle until you can't anymore.
I
Hey,
go.
look, that's a really
I,
cool picture. Pull over.
I go until I need gas, and then when I stop to get gas,
Do all the other things.
I do everything else, and by the time I come back, my truck is full of gas, and I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Oh, well,
See,
But
we would be good.
I don't-
We would
but
be
I-
great travel
But
partners.
I don't want to sit at south of the border, because Pedro says, for 45 minutes.
they tore that down. They're rebuilding. It's going to be all new, so you're going to have to stop and see it.
But I don't want to have to stop and sit there and twiddle my thumbs for 45 minutes when I could be another,
And there
hour
are
down the
solution-
road.
There are solutions to that, but they're putting all of their eggs into this charging station bucket. Sweden has developed roads that recharge your battery as you're driving on them. There are drive-through, like a Jiffy Lube, where you drive through, your battery's taken out, a new battery's put in.
That's
and
got
you
to be
move on.
pretty costly, though.
Well, no, because
how
those
much
batteries
is
get
your-
on a charger.
And then they
then-
just recycle.
Yeah.
So I assume it's a subscription sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
But if you're paying $100 a month to charge your car in electric at home, then you would be able to pay for that, and you're always getting a new charged battery.
But
So
again,
it helps.
you're having to stop and you're having to like sit at Jiffy Lube and wait for them
Well,
to take your battery out.
It's a 10 to 15 minute sort of thing, of course, depending on the bays. But as it becomes more, but they're not looking at
5 minutes, in
They're
and
not
out.
looking- it is pretty quick. I don't know if you've seen the prototypes, but they're pretty cool, and they're not developing those things here. Like, they're doing it in
Right.
countries where they've already had electric cars for a longer period of time, and they are pushing it towards sustainability.
Well, one thing
We're
that
just like, let's put 500,000
Well,
charging stations
here's
in.
what I'm kind of surprised at. How many new gas stations are within a 3-mile radius of us in the last couple of years?
Well,
100?
That's Walkersville development.
No,
I
but
don't know.
not just Walkersville. You go up by Monocacy. There's 5 new
pretty
gas
close.
stations. I didn't see any charging stations at any of those. So,
Royal Farms usually does.
okay, I didn't see any,
know if they
but
have
maybe they
that one
do.
at that one,
But my whole thing is, I'm surprised that we better put some more gas stations in. That doesn't feel like the direction things are going, but they're still doing it, and they're within a block of each other,
Yeah,
which still doesn't make
the
any sense.
Rudders and the Royal
Yes.
Farms. Yeah, I'm not sure what that war is about, you know, and Wawa gets all up in there as well, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I
Who
mean, I'm
knows?
all for carpooling and, you know, things that you can do can control, but am I gonna reduce my emissions by 20, 30, by 50%? I reduced my emissions last week by 50%
Well-
over the week before, but that's.
One of the big ways is everybody worked remote for 2 years with no problems for the most part.
Yeah.
And all these businesses that are just itching to get everybody under their thumb again, that's just adding
I
to
think I'm going to start working
all that
remote
stuff,
again.
other than you.
We're just gonna put the big TV up there in the pulpit.
That's right.
You can be,
You
a
know, like
robot.
Max
We'll get
Headroom.
one that drives
You
around.
reduce your emissions when you drive your motorcycle versus your truck.
I do, but I don't like getting wet, so that's why I didn't ride it today.
That's a problem.
But anyway,
But anyway,
We digress.
So we
So
have.
I don't know if I fully love this one.
it isn't a terrible thing,
It's
though.
not a terrible thing, and I understand that they're
But there's a
putting
lot
goal
more that
and
has to go into
And
it.
it's like, it's like any of the missions or the social statements. It brings awareness, all these whereas. It brings things to the forefront. You're like, I never thought about it that way. I never thought about it that way.
But if you do nothing, then nothing happens.
Right, so they're
So.
setting the bar pretty high.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love creation care. I just am not in love with this memorial. Was that the last one? No.
Nope,
Number
we have
7.
one more.
It's almost 1 o'clock. We've been going for like an hour.
Yeah, but this is a double issue end of the
Yeah, it's a
end of the season.
end of
End of
season
season.
extended version. It's like that
Extended version.
hour and a half.
I wonder what's going to happen in the finale. Everybody lives. Okay.
Yeah, I cried. I cried last night. I watched This Is Us and I cried. I was.
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
I
was
don't
so
watch
sad.
it.
It's
I love the
fantastic.
song. I love the song. You know, what is it again? And so it goes. And so it goes by Billy Joel. I was just like,
You've never heard that song?
no.
There's a million movies, similar situations that song plays in.
It
That's a
was
go-to.
it was tremendous.
Hashtag never watching This Is Us because I don't want to cry that hard.
You would
I
enjoy it
didn't
a lot.
cry
It's a
hard.
fantastic show.
Everybody that I've ever seen for the last however many years is like, I'm sobbing.
Well,
I don't need that.
That's
in my
because
life. I have
it's
real life.
ending. It only has 3 more episodes till it's done.
Okay,
So
well, maybe
the-
at some point when I
the
feel
waterworks are
super
being
depressed-
cranked.
When I'm super depressed sometime in the future, I'll just binge watch the whole thing when it's on some
There you
streaming.
go.
Anyway, the last
The last
memorial,
Is
number 7.
a memorial regarding the creation of an ELCA strategy regarding black migrants. And Russ and I have kind of bandied this about a bit, and I'm not for creating. I mean, now we're supposed to be in this inclusive attitude, where everybody is supposed to be included and I looked at it from the perspective of including all migrants. However, reading it a couple of times and talking with Russ about it, it's more of looking at how we can support
The most
the
marginalized.
the most marginalized.
Well, and this was directed about Africa specifically.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when you go into it, it's migrants going from one African nation to another African nation, and a lot of it. So
And not being able to sustain that.
right, and that's why it's written the way it is.
So I agree, there should be a strategy. You know, the whereases, again, are all eye-opening, and then resolving to support things like Amparos, am I saying that right?
Amparo.
Amparo strategy, and
Yeah, the one resolve that I highlighted was that ELCA amplify, support, advocate, and create worship and prayer resources that recognize international and national holidays, events, and activities that support solidarity with migrants, especially people of African descent. And I think that's something that is easily done. You know, where we all already have some of our worship liturgy is of
in an African dialect.
there you go. That's I was trying to.
Because there's a diverse number of languages in Africa. You know, we can't say we're going to have a Spanish service, you know, that covers in general, I mean, some
Right.
dialect, but, you know, saying that there are so many dialects, but offering recognition for their holidays, for
Right.
activities and traditions that are, I think we talked about in the human culture
Yep.
social statement too, just recognizing other people's traditions and cultures doesn't take anything away from
Ours.
It
But it
just
helps us to learn.
enriches-
Right. And enrich. Correct. So, and
Everybody love everybody.
everybody loves
Everybody love
everybody.
everybody.
Bookend.
And that's how we wrap up
And
this
and
evening.
that's how we close it. Everybody loves everybody. You know.
So I would say, look at these. I didn't, you know, again, I don't think I've ever looked at any of the things that's happening in the church's assembly.
Yeah.
But it didn't really take very long to read through these and know what the church is doing. I do appreciate the clarification on memorials versus resolutions, because I was like, what the what? So I appreciate that.
I'm
You
here
know,
for you.
Well, just like everything, you know,
Oh
I've been in
my
the Lutheran church forever, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up in. And, you know, this is the most in-depth I've been on what's really, you know, and same with social statements and messages.
Right.
I've never looked at those. You know, we just show up on Sunday, do our thing, and don't think about it. And we should all be, just like the rest of the world,
we should be
what's
informed.
going on in the world right now, you should be engaged in that,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And
We made that as one of our, you know, when we were deciding, you know, what was important to us was be more involved in the wider church. And, you know, check.
because they
We're doing it.
represent us and we represent them. So
Right.
we
Yeah.
should know what
So-
each other's.
So
You should know
that
what's happening.
we are not just wrapped up in our own little world. We're actually freed from things. We're able to get
I think
into.
that was the sermon. Jack. How is he gonna, you know, preview his sermons this
That
summer?
wasn't
I
your
don't
best
know.
segue, but
No,
you
but
did
it-
it.
I got it in
Got
there.
it in there, right under the wire at 1 hour long. All right,
So-
thanks for sticking with us, those
Absolutely.
Yeah,
of you
we
who
we
did.
are done for the
Bonus
summer.
coverage.
So
We might do a pop-up here and there like we have in the past if we got
Diane,
stuff.
just real quick to address your, yeah, okay, well, I think you may have figured it out. But read the resolution on the black immigrants. I think it'll help clear up your
okay,
question there.
we'll see you Sunday
Thank
All right.
you. See
or
ya.
Saturday.